welcome to Art with Miss Sloan, your weekly art lesson here on YouTube while you're learning at home. So let me explain how art is going to work in this online world. So each week I'm going to release one video on a Monday with an art project that you will have the full week to complete. Each video is going to be quite long because it's going to be an in-depth tutorial on how to make something with me or how to draw something with me. So if you're thinking and feeling a bit intimidated by the length of the video, don't worry, it's because I'm giving you lots of step-by-step instructions. You'll be able to pause the video whenever you like, and you'll be able to rewind, rewatch steps. You do not have to do these in one sitting. No. Don't need to do that at all. The project that we're going to start today, just like when we do our normal lessons, is not just going to take us this 1 week. It's going to take us a few weeks. So this is going to be part 1. So let's see what we're making today. So what we are going to make today is a pop-up book. Now this is the one that I am currently making, so it's not 100% finished, but it will give you an idea of what you can do. And as you can see, just looks like a normal book, nothing too exciting. But when I let it go and I unravel it, I have a pop-up playbook. So I'm going to put that together. So what this book does is it opens up to create little play areas for you to have any kind of character that wants to play inside it. Now, like I said, this is not finished yet. This is just the basic pop-ups. I am working on some pop-up furniture just now. So that's what I'm currently working on. So this is still currently a work in progress. There's many great things about a pop-up book. It's a 3D thing that you get to open and play with. You're going to learn how to customise all for yourself for any characters or toys you want to have to play in this. And although it may seem like it takes up a lot of room now, the wonderful thing about it is all we have to do to put it away is fold it all back up and it can sit on the bookshelf with the rest of our toys. Now this is going to be the most challenging version that I can make of it. So if I open this back up, you'll see that we've got floors that bend. We're also going to have furniture that pops up, as having cutouts for our characters to walk through, as well as doors that open and close. In the course of these online videos, I am going to be showing you how to make the construction of the pop-up book. I'm also going to be showing you how I create all of these details in the pop-up book. So whether it's textures like wood or making some really cool tile, and also making pop-up elements and types of furniture just like we have here, and any cool extra decoration pieces that we're also going to have. So this is what we're going to do. This is a great project because you can customise this however you like. And parents as well, this is a really fun thing if you want to get involved as well. If the whole of this book looks maybe a little scary and you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about that, there are loads and loads of ways that you can simplify this down. So let me show you some examples. These are a couple of templates which show how you can simplify this down to make it a little bit simpler for you and maybe a little bit less complicated. So for example, my book that I just showed you had 4 rooms. You can just very easily just make the 1 room. It's still going to be a book that all folds away nice and neatly. But if you just want to do 1 room, that is absolutely fine. What we can also do as well is if you still want to do the 4 rooms but you're unsure how you're feeling about the floors, at one particular stage you can just not use the floors and you can just create the walls and you'll still have all 4 rooms as your play area. You just won't have the floors to work with. This project is going to let me teach you lots of different things. Not only different folding techniques to make 2D into 3D, but also drawing techniques, creating shade and tone to make things look a little bit more 3-dimensional. Also, how to use your various tools to help you, like your ruler, and also using the paper to help measure. This project's also a great way to stretch your imagination because you can base your house on absolutely anything that you like. Harry Potter, gaming, Among Us, you can do anything with these rooms here. No right or wrong answer. You do not have to copy exactly what I have here. I really do hope that you're going to enjoy making this with me. Don't worry if you feel a bit intimidated about doing the big pop-up book. You can make this as simple or as challengingly complex as you like. There's no right or wrong way. Just give this a good go. So let's see what you need for this project. You will need paper or card, a pencil, maybe keep a sharpener handy, a rubber, a pair of scissors, and remember to always have adult supervision when working with sharp objects, some tape, some coloured pens, or maybe some coloured pencils as well, a glue stick, a ruler, and an old cereal box, or maybe if you've got an Amazon cardboard envelope, that'll be really handy for making your cover. So why don't you pause this video and go and find all the materials that you can find. Now before we get started, remember you can pause the video, you can stop and take breaks. You do not have to do this in one go. Maybe ask somebody else to help you on maybe bits you're stuck with. Also remember, you can make this as simple or as challenging as you like. And I do explain all the points where you can stop, where you can simplify it down, where you can give yourself more challenge. Before the actual tutorial starts, I do want to say the camera is a little shaky when I'm making this. The table I was working on and the tripod I'm using weren't all that steady. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try and fix it as best I can. But for the time being, we're going to have to work with a bit of shakiness. Hope that's okay and you don't find it too annoying. So let's get started. 1, 2, 3. So today we're just going to be doing the basic structure. I've got all my materials to the side here just next to me off of the camera, and I've also put down a mat. Now I do recommend a mat or some kind of newspaper or things that if you're working at something like your kitchen table or something like that you don't want to get messy. Give it a good clean, make sure you've put something down, you're not going to get anything messy on it. So to get started with our pop-up book, you are going to need some A4 paper or a piece of A4 card. You can use either of these to do this project. If you use the card, your pop-up book's going to be a lot sturdier. If you have paper, of course, this will still work as well, but it will be a little bit thinner. It might not be as durable. We are going to take our first piece of card and we will need to make the walls 4 pieces of card in total, or paper. And what I am going to do is I'm going to fold this piece of paper in half. Now what I want to do is when I am folding, just like if you've ever done origami with me, is I want to try and match up the corners on either side. So I do not want to fold it like this because otherwise the next stage is going to be much, much trickier. So the way that I like to do it is I just like to hover and just position my corners as best I can. And then I'm going to hold 2 fingers there. I stretch my finger to hold it, and then I use my hand to carefully flatten and press, especially if you're using card, because card's obviously a little bit tougher. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure you're really pressing down on that fold so we've got a nice crisp edge. So that's that one with the card. Now I need to fold 4 of these. So this is 1. This is number 2, so again, number 3, and finally, number 4. So now I have my 4 pieces here. These are going to become the walls of our pop-up book. But we want to be able to add the floor. Now for the floor, I would actually say if you've got a very limited amount of card, use paper for the floor. That's going to be absolutely fine. The sturdiest part we want is the walls. But I want to change the shape of these a little so that we can have a little tab glue our floor onto. I actually really like a square book personally, and I think it ends up being a really nice size. So what I'm going to do is I am taking one of my, and I'm holding it portrait, so I'm holding it nice and tall, and I'm going to take one of my other walls which I folded and hold it landscape, and I'm going to put this one on top of the other, and I'm going to move it so one side lines up with the corner, so I have this kind of T, upside down T shape here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that down there, and I'm going to use the paper as my ruler just to darken that up so you can see it a little more. Yes, that's a lot clearer now. So I'm going to have this excess piece. I'm going to do that for all 4 of my walls. As you can see, if I now line these all on top of each other really nice and neatly, all of those lines should now make up, so I know all my walls are the exact same height, which is lovely. This is going to become part of our tab to help stick our wall onto. Okay, so for next step, we need to make our floors. So once again, I'm going to use card, but you again can always use paper. Now what I want to do is I'm going to again use our paper to help us. Now I want to divide this in half. We're going to again fold our paper in half here. So I'm going to fold in half, and it's really important you get this as accurate as you can. So folding this here, pressing down again. Okay, so now if I open that up again, you'll see I've got my fold line in the middle. Now with card, because it is thicker, you don't get as nice and neat a line as you will get with paper. So for our next stage, now if I open this card up like so, because this is how we see it working. Let me turn that round again. I want my paper to fit all the way over here, and it is again a perfect square. So I need to do the exact same as before. Line up along here, because again I want to make a perfect square. Now what I want to do now is I need to use my scissors. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my paper folded, and I am going to cut along as carefully as I can along that pencil line that I have just made. And cut that off there. I'm then going to open this up, and I'm going to cut along my line here. Now, if like me you've got card and you've got some wrinkles either side, all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold at an angle, and I take my pencil and take it down that line, so when I open it up I get a little bit of a clearer line, which again I am going to cut across. So now I have 2 squares. These will be, if I open up my card again, the floor for my pop-up book, and you can see it fits perfectly. I now have 2 pieces of square card, so I have 2 floors. I have 4 rooms that I'm going to make, so I need to make another 2. Another thing to say is don't throw away these extra cut off bits. You actually will find them very useful later on. And there's all 4 of my floor squares cut out. So I'm going to put them to the side for now. So this original folded book that we made and this floor will make 1 room. If you only want to make 1 room, that is absolutely fine. You do not need to make the full book. So let me show you how we need to prepare it. So our floor is basically ready to go. We've got 1 more fold to do in it, but we'll do that after we have decorated it. And we just need to make our little tabs and do 1 final bit of folding. Now I did realise as I was starting to make this, I actually need this line to continue along the front here. Now you can use your ruler and just take it straight across. But if you're not feeling so comfortable with that, that's absolutely fine. You can take one of your other cardboard pieces that you have done. And what I want you to do is make sure you've got this line with the really short section up at the top here. So make sure you've got this small place facing away from you. This, my hand's down here, so away from me here. And I'm going to ask you to flip it over. And then we're going to take our other piece that we folded. We're going to do it as exactly the same as before. And again, I'm going to just take that line right across. And then that way, we've got this one here. What we're now going to do is we're going to cut off a little bit of this excess because it's a bit too much, because this just needs to be a glue tab to hold the roof into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 2 centimetres across on this side. And remember, when you are measuring, the measurement does not start from this very end of the ruler. It starts from the mark that says 0. So make sure you've lined up this point here with this point where the 0 is. And I'm going to measure 2 centimetres. One side. And then I'm going to go towards the top. And I'm going to do the exact same. Now, I actually like it being at the end, so I'm going to turn this round so I can put the edge of the ruler right against it. That's personally how I prefer it. And on this side, I know we can't start at the 0 here, so I'm going to start 0 here, and I'm going to go down 2 centimetres. We are going to be using our ruler a lot in this particular project, particularly for the pop-up parts, so it's good that we get used to it. And I'm going to line my ruler up here and here. Again, spread my fingers across it there and draw my line. What we need to do is we need to add in a couple of little extra lines so that when we fold up, we get a nice neat corner like this when we add up. Because I will show you the difference from that when we've done this. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut across the line here. And I'm going to put this extra card just to the side because I'm probably going to use that a bit later on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut my scissors up to that line there. And then I am going to fold. So I'm making sure, folding right onto there. Now folding's again really important, so take your time with this. Otherwise this won't work quite so well. If you've got an adult who can help you, that would be great. And I'm going to use my ruler to help just press that down a little more. And I'm going to do the exact same on the other side. Now remember, if you need a little help, if there's someone in the house that could maybe help you with this, go and very politely ask them. And again, I'm going to give that a press. Now, with these tabs, when I fold these together, these corners overlap. Now, normally this wouldn't bother, but because of the nature of our pop-up book, we actually want to reduce how thick any of these kind of major mechanics is. So, what I need to do is I need to cut a couple of extra lines going up here. So I'm going to cut a little shape like that and a shape like that on that side there. Again, these don't have to be perfect, but it's just so now when I close it, there we go, I don't have overlapping bits of card. And if I then slot my paper in the middle there, it looks really nice and flush. And these are all the pieces we need for one room. So again, if you're only doing one room, that's you now finished. We're ready to do the decoration if this is the only room that you're going to make. However, if you want to do the 4-book room that I showed you at the beginning of the video, you're going to need to make 3 more of these. It's the exact same process again, so I might speed this up a little in some areas, but again, I'm going to show you how to do all of those. So I'm going to fold that one up into its little book, so I'm going to pop that to the side there, and I'm going to show you the other ones. Now, if you were to fold up all of these rooms, making sure you tuck all the tabs inside, that these all line up really nicely. They're all exactly the same size, which is just what we want here. And now that we've done all that construction, we can now do the fun part, which is the decorating part. So if we look at my pre-constructed room that I did earlier, and we open this up, you can see I've got 2 walls and I have the floor. I am going to show you how to make a character if you would like to, but you can use anything that you already have. So I have this peg person who I haven't turned anything into yet, so I think I'll show you how to use one of these and make one. But if you have civilian families or some action figures, anything at all, you can use them to help you measure out your doors, your windows, anything that we're going to do for this. Okay, but I will give you the measurements for my little person here, because I will give you a template later on to help you make your own character. Not of a peg person, just a little paper character. But we're going to use this little guy for now to help us. So remember, you should have left all of your rooms unstuck. So each room should have this piece here, which would be your walls, and this piece, which is your floor. Now, it is up to you how you want to make your rooms. They can be anything that they want. If you're doing the 1 room, you just need 1 idea. However, if you've got 4, you're going to have to think of other ones. So I am going to do this as a little kind of art studio house, because that is what I fancy making, and I can make this whatever I want. But you can make whatever you like. You could make a version of Hogwarts. You could make a detective studio. You could make a gaming room. You could do just about anything you want with this. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just your imagination. So if you want to do a little diagram, I'm actually going to use a scrap piece of paper that I have here. So let me move these to the side for now. So on my little, I'm going to make a little floor plan. So a floor plan is when you're looking directly above something. Builders use these, for example, when they're building buildings, architects, all that kind of stuff, to help decide a layout. So when I put my boxes together, my rooms together, sorry, I will get 4 rooms that will make the corner of each room. Now, something I definitely want is I want to make a garden with an entrance. So I definitely need a big door at some point. And I definitely want an art studio. So I think I will put, where will I put that? I think I might put it in here, because it'd be fun to be able to go from the garden from here. So let's put art studio. And of course we need somewhere to sleep. So let's put a bedroom here. And then let's have a kitchen / living room area. And that's my basic plan, but you could do lots of things. So if I do another little doodle here, oh, Alice in Wonderland. Let's maybe do an Alice in Wonderland. So maybe this is where Alice comes through and it's the little doorknob with the keyhole. So maybe, oh, so I'm going to do the little bottle here to remind me what that is. So you can plan however you like. You can draw little pictures. So the door with the doorknob and the drink me's and the tables. So I can think of it that way. And this here, oh, I could have the big mushroom with the caterpillar. Oh, what has happened to this caterpillar here? He looks a little strange, but let's go with it. And in here, I could have the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And in here, I could have Croquet with the Queen of Hearts. So that one I've done slightly differently. It's not necessarily rooms, but it's maybe bits of a book or a movie that I actually really enjoy. You could do the same with Harry Potter. Maybe this one would be the Chamber of Secrets. This one here could be Privet Drive. This one here, you could do the Weasley's house. That would be awesome. There's absolutely no wrong way of doing this, but if you are struggling for some inspiration, there is lots of prompts that I will give you in terms of themes or books or ideas, which you will find listed in the little description bar below if you are looking for a little bit of inspiration. I would love to see you get as imaginative with this as possible and see what all the other ideas that you can come up with. This one is mine here that I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with the garden because that's what I was definitely starting with. So my garden's going to start up here. Now I definitely won't need to put a door in. Now remember I said that rulers were going to become really important. This is where it's going to come in. So I'm going to use my little person to help me here because if I don't want to make the door too low and I don't want to make it ridiculously high. So I am going to line that up with the bottom there and I'm just going to give a little mark. Very, very tiny mark, very tiny, very light. Just as you can see, okay, you're this high. This will let me work out how high I need my door. So let's see, if I measure that there, so if I measure, there's my little point here. So I'm marking that with my 0 and I'm gonna measure it. So it's about 10 centimeters. I'm gonna make the doorway and I'm gonna put you back up here just for a second. Good sir. And I'm going to, let's go a little bit higher. Let's maybe go 11 centimeters. Let's do that. I think that's plenty high. Now I'm going to measure 11 centimeters here. So I'm going to give myself again a little mark. And then over this side where our center line is, I'm going to, and I'll draw in that center line for you so you can actually see what I'm doing, is I'm going to measure, and I can always double check, 11 centimeters. So I'm going to mark that on in there. This is, I think, the only bit of accurate measuring that I need to do just to make it work for my little person. And I'm going to just very lightly, not too dark, put in my line where that goes. Now, does that look even? Kind of even. I'm not overly worried about lines going a little bit off. Just give me a general idea here. And then I'm going to measure here. Now, you're a very small little guy, so, but I don't want you being too close to the edge here. So I'm going to measure along that line 2 and 2 here. If I make this line too close to the edge, it might rip my card, which I don't want. So there's part 1 of my door. Now, how wide should I make the door? So again, I'm going to put you here. I think about 4. Let's go for 4 centimeters. And for the bottom. And there we go. I have made a door frame. On this side, I might add in a window. Now I'm going to measure this, but of course you could just doodle across this. So I am going to measure. Now, you know what? I'm going to take that same line so they're same height because that will bother me otherwise. And again, I'm going to bring that in. I might put it in the middle. So I'm going to measure my line there from the centre line. Now, it's not perfect. So it's 14 and a little bit. I'm just going to go with 14. So I'm going to go 14 from this edge here. Now, half of 14 is, if we divide that by 2, is 7. So I'm going to mark a 7 in there. And I am going to make my window 6 centimetres across. So if I have half of 6 centimetres is 3 centimetres. So I'm now going to line that mark up with the 3 because that's halfway, and then I can mark 0 and 6. And that's going to give me a little guide. So I'm going to do the same at the bottom. I'm going to go 14, have my 14 lined up at the side here. I'm going to go 7 at the bottom. And then lining up the 3, 0 and 6. And then that's going to give me some lines to work with. And then I'm going to make that a square. I'm going to stick with this square. 6 and 6. And now I've got my door and my window. Ta-da! So that is one. Some very basic shapes to start with. That is all I'm going to use my ruler for on this particular room, so I can now pop that to the side. So if I fold that up there and I see how it's looking, maybe I slot in my room here. My goodness, that is very, very bright. And I'm happy with how that's looking. That's great. Now, I do have, when I line this up here, the door hits obviously the floor. So I'm going to position that as if it were sitting in the room here. And I am going to just mark in 2 little marks either side of the door. And I am going to use that to doodle a path. And then if I line that back up, and I have a path coming from my door there. There we go. Now you can see that a bit better. Now I think I actually want to cut out this window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my scissors. Now, always have help with scissors from adults, and I'm going to, now this is where you might want an adult to help you, but I'm going to just gently just lip the card so it's kind of in the middle of my shape, so that I can make a little slice, and then I can use my scissors to cut up to the area that I want here. Again, carefully follow the lines there and cut out a little bit. As you can see, I cut to 4 corners just to make it a little easier for myself. Oh, that'll be very nice. I like that a lot. Yes. Now I'm also wanting to cut out the door so that it can actually open and shut. And now that I'm looking at this door, I actually think I want to change the shape of it. I am going to keep this straight line though so that I can open and shut the door, and actually I think I'll keep that line. I just shouldn't rub that one out. But I just think I want to make a kind of a wonkier door, like an old cottage door. I think I'll cut it here. Nope. Let's see. I think I'm going to curve it. Yeah, I want to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. That's better. And that I think will be my basic one for this now. Let's see. Now this is a garden that I definitely am going to embellish a little bit more as we progress through. But like I said, today we're just trying to get just the basic outlines, basic shapes of what we're doing. So what I am going to do is I'm going to cut out around this door. I want to keep this door on a hinge. Unlike the window, I don't want to cut away the entire shape. I want to keep some of the door. So what I am doing is I'm carefully cutting from the tab now. Don't cut all the way. Cut up to the line like so. And I'm going to carefully cut round. And I'm going to cut it just very carefully round to where I meet that straight line that I drew with my ruler. Whew, all done. And I'm also going to just cut along the bottom there, but I'm not cutting off the tab to there. And this is so I can fold the door. This is where things can get a little tricky, but I'm going to very carefully try and fold it. Now, folding this might be a little difficult, so what I am going to do is I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to use a nice sharp pencil, or if you've got a compass, this will work a little better. And I'm going to go lean, press quite hard and just go up and down that line a few times. And in theory, there we go. That fold should be a little easier because you're making a little dent in the paper. It should make it a little easier. Now, before I start pressing that, I'm just going to just rub out some of that line just so I don't smudge pencil everywhere. There we go. So that I now have lines that will come in. Now, what I can do is to just kind of hold this back together. I'm actually going to get just a little bit of sellotape and I'm just going to put that on the bottom there, just so that's going to hold together a little better. There we go. And then it's not going to go away now. So now I have an opening door and I have a window. So that I think will be the basic construction of my little garden. So now I'm going to move on to the next room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to decide on which side I want the bedroom to go on, whether I want it to bedroom to lead from the garden here or whether I want to go from here. Now I think I'd like the bedroom because I'd like the bedroom to have this window. Now like I said, I want you to see through this one. So I have a little bit of tracing that I'm going to need to do. So what I am going to do is I'm going to set up my pages as if it's already opened up. So I know, aha, I need my window on this side. So I'm going to hold those together and lay them down. I'm then going to just line these up as best I can so they match up, and I'm going to draw inside this window here, like so. And now I can cut this out too. So again, little hole in the middle, cutting up to the corners. So I've cut out to my 4 corners, and now I can cut round So now I have that window, which when I then line up the rooms next to each other, I can now see through both rooms, like so. So let's have a look here. So I think on this side, I'm going to put in another door. And again, you can use the one that you've already measured to help you out here. But I want a slightly different shape to that one. I think I just want a plain archway. So I'm going to do that exact same. I'm just going to use this one to help me out. So I'm just going to line that up there, measure it around, open up the door, and trace around the inside, like so. Take that away. And because I don't want to keep this door, I'm just going to cut that out. Excellent. So now I've got my 2 ones here. So now I can join that up, and I know they're the right way up because the tabs are at the bottom. What I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to start gluing some of these walls together. Sure that I know where these are touching. Okay. Now, if you want, you could add a scribble on the inside of each one so you know which side is the glue side. So now when I take this one away, I lay this one flat, I can see my little squiggle mark. And I'm going to be quite generous with my glue here. Now, before I glue this together, there's one last step. Now, obviously, I've put this window in. You can, of course, just leave it an open window here. However, if you have some clear plastic packaging, you can cut that a bit of it out. Make sure it's nice and clean. And I'm going to, this wee bumpy bit there, lay that over the window so that it looks like I have a piece of glass. So I'm going to add on a wee bit more glue there because it may have dried a little bit. And then again, I look and see where I've put my little scribble mark, and I'm going to very carefully line that up as carefully as I can. Give it a very good press down. Make sure it's all lined up as best you can. And then when I open that up, I now have some walls with some rims. Next one. My last one here again, I'm going to line it up here, turn it round, make sure it's lined up as best I can, draw on the door, I know that'll be there, and again I'm just going to cut it out. So I know that that's going to fit really nicely on there. And then for this one, I also want another door on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it shut because I just want another archway on the other side. curve around the top there. And again, I'm going to cut that one out too. And again, I'm going to double check. Yep, that all lines up. And I'm going to again glue this one to the center. Line up your pieces. And maybe on the insides, you can again give them a scribble on where you're wanting to glue. And then on this side, whoop, helps if I take the glue lid off. Going to add some glue on this side. And again, scribble mark here, which I'm going to then match up here at the end. And again, you can do all of this with paper. I'm using card because I happen to have it and it'll be a little bit stronger. But when you start gluing layers of paper together, it tends to get a little stronger anyway. And again, if I stand that up and I have my third room, and then I have my third room, and then I just need to add on my last one. You can see how much sturdier this wall is than this wall, and that's because of the double layers. Same with this one. So I've got one more to do, and I've just got 2 archways to pop in. So again, so I'm going to draw the ones on there. And then I'm going to draw on the other side too. Okay. So that I've now got again my 2 archways drawn on either side. And then that's my last one, which I can now stick in as well. So again, I'm going to add in, so again I can scribble on a corner. And this one here, so I know which side I'm gluing on. And again, I'm going to line that up. Hello, editing Miss Sloan here. I'm jumping in because I made this horrendous mistake of gluing those 2 sides together, and I didn't realise until quite a bit later on. I do fix it, but I just want to show you very clearly what not to do, essentially. So I've got 4 little books here that are meant to be my walls, and I just want to be very, very clear on how you glue these together so that you do not make the same mistake that I did. I will show you that clip of when I realised it in a separate, totally separate video, because you know what? We all make mistakes, but we work through them, we problem solve. That's how we go. So let me show you how to glue all of the walls together very, very clearly. So I've got my 4 separate books, and the way in the video that I did, which was absolutely correct, was I started to glue each wall together after I cut out the doorway. And did that with 1, 2, and then the 3rd book. Now, this was the part where I went wrong when I wanted to put my 4th book on. This is a pop-up book. So the idea is it's meant to be able to close shut into a book. So I'm going to recommend every time you glue a book on, just double check. Does it still close into a book? Can you still open it up? What we want to do for this last book is we only want to stick 1 cover on. Now I made the mistake of gluing these 2 sides together. And if you do that, it can't really fold back into a book. So I want to make sure I only glue the one side on. And I should still, again, just double check, yep, be able to fold it into a book. You know that you're doing it correctly if you've got all your folded spines all together on one side and all these open up, and it should be very easy. Fold up and then you can open it up again. These two sides that touch here will become the front and the back cover. So I'm just going to write that on there. So imagine this is my book closed. So this is the front cover. And if I flip it over, this is the back cover. These need to remain unglued so that we can open and shut. And as you see, as I open it up, the front and back cover will join so that we can play. So just to make that very, 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 very clear, just in case, do not make the same mistake that I did. Because do not make the same mistake that I did. I was filming for too long. I didn't take a break. I was filming for several hours. I was quite tired. Do not make those mistakes that I did. So that's how you do it, just to be clear. That is the last step that we are going to cover in today's lesson. And that is the end of part 1 of the pop-up book. Lots and lots of construction this week. Make sure you tune in next Monday for the decoration part. We're going to be adding lots of colour, lots of details to our pop-up house. Going to be lots and lots of drawing and colouring involved. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again next week. Bye bye.